Well, good afternoon. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the garden. It's a nice cloudy, overcast day out here in the garden. I really enjoy these kind of days. It's nice and cool too, being able to wear my flannel shirt out here. Well, anyhow, I wanted to share with you today my secret weapon to a pest-free vegetable garden. So I'm really glad you could join me today. So out here I have my 4-foot by 8-foot bed. I planted some early glow strawberries here about a month ago, and they're really coming along really nice. And so I wanted to be able to protect these from pests and squirrels and deer and so on. And so I'm going to be building a low tunnel hoop house over these as a secret weapon to protect these plants from pests and animals and critters. So building these low tunnel hoop houses, you have two options. You can use the EMT, it's electrical metallic tubing. You can get it at home centers for roughly $3 a piece. It's 1/2 inch, and these are bent in a 4-foot diameter. What I actually did is I took a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood and I cut it on a 4-foot radius, and then I anchored it down to my workbench and spaced a few boards apart, you know, about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 away from the radius. And then I was able to bend these hoops right on my workbench table. You can also buy these benders at Johnny's Selected Seeds, but they're a little pricey. And so I'm going to be using these here, but another option you have here is 1/2 inch PVC. And this works really well. It's very flexible, and so you don't really need to worry about bending it with any special type of bender. And what you would do is, you know, this is a 2-foot length or 24-inch length of 1/2 inch rebar. And for instance, in this 4-foot by 8-foot bed, I'm going to put one in each corner and then one in the middle on each side. So you'd need a total of 6. And then you would also want to cut about 16 inches off of this 10-foot length. And that would give you a nice arch, you know, or hoop to be able to install then your spun bonded polyester row cover. They also call it Agribond in the garden world. And so you have two options. This is really homeowner friendly, you know, user friendly, constructing a hoop house out of the PVC. But since I have a lot of these hoops, I'm going to be using the metal ones. And so what I already did is I installed one already on the end of the bed, and then you want to be able to just push these down in the soil about 6 to 8 inches. And so get them in nice and tight. Something really easy to do. And then I'm going to put one more in the middle here. You can get your measuring tape and measure 4 feet in if you're using a 4-foot bed. I'm going to kind of just eyeball it. Since I've been in the construction business for over 40 years now, it's kind of get an idea what 48 inches is apart. And then you want to just kind of make sure your hoops are about the same height. So I always get down the end and kind of just eyeball them. Now it looks like that middle one has to go down just a little bit more. And so that way the tops are pretty even. And so this bed is 8 foot long, and then the hoops are about 3 feet off the ground. And then I always give them about an inch or 1 foot or 12 inches extra on each end, because I'm going to weight this down with some of my construction bricks here. Now you could also use sandbags or rocks or any type of weight that you have available. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go cut a piece of this spun bonded polyester. Now I get my row covers from Rainflow from Lancaster, PA. I buy an 11 foot by 500-foot roll, and that roll lasts me probably 3-4 years. And so what's nice about the row cover is that, you know, it blocks about 5% of your light, you know, which really works out well. Keeps some of this hot summer heat off of the plants, keeps the pests and bugs out, of course, the aphids and the looper worm. You know, you see that yellow butterfly, white butterfly flying around your garden. Well, that lays eggs, of course, under your plants, under your kale and broccoli and all the brassica family. You know, they don't seem to bother my Swiss chard. But anyhow, it's still, you know, these row covers allow the rain to come through them and the air, and I water my plants right through my row covers. So I'm going to go cut one of these pieces, and then I'm going to install one side of it. So I cut this this spun bonded row cover, you know, at 8 feet, and then another 4 foot on each side, you know. So I cut it 16 feet, and then I laid bricks over the one side. And thankfully there's no wind right now, but it typically always gets windy when I go to do this. So we're going to get the leading edge and try to pull this over here. There still is a little bit wind around here, but let's give this a try. And you're simply just going to, it's like putting a blanket over it, a white fleece, basically. Something really easy to do. You know, I always tell people it's well worth the time and effort in the beginning to do something like this, because what's annoying in your garden is having all these pests and then having to use chemicals on your plants, and you know, this makes it a lot more enjoyable. Let's get this one other edge here. Starting to get windy a little bit. And then you want to get your ends here and curl up your ends. And then let's get this end up here and roll this up real nice. This material is basically like a white fleece here. I want to go down here and tune it up just a little bit more. But that's pretty much it. You know, you may spend a little bit of money up front, like I said, but you know, not having to worry about pests in your garden. And you know, I use my composted leaf mulch amended with topsoil, which is certified weed free, so I don't have to deal with pulling weeds all summer, which is annoying and frustrating and labor intensive. And then I don't have to deal with the pests, you know, the bugs, the aphids, the caterpillars and so on. So again, I makes me or enables me to really enjoy my time out here in the garden. So I would always encourage you to think about doing row covers, and then of course the hoops you can use year after year. You could also use this row cover if it doesn't tear or anything. And so these strawberry plants are protected by any kind of squirrel or rabbit or the deer, you know, and that's what's nice about these row covers. I use these also over my broccoli, my cabbage, my cauliflower, and they just work really, really well. So that's my secret weapon to having a pest-free vegetable garden. And so just want to thank you for joining me today, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. And so I just hope you have a great day gardening. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.